This is all great. This is all great. We should have been recording.
Right?
This is really good.
Okay, I'm hitting this on. I think we're live. You can do...
Do you want me to hit this one? Do I need to hit this one?
No.
No.
I got it.
Oh, you got it there.
Yeah. Perfect, Stirling. Welcome back to the show.
Good to see you again, Ken.
Very good to see you.
Yeah. People loved us the last time we did this.
Yeah?
So, yeah. It got a lot of really positive receptions from my audience.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Man, it was like the funniest. I mean, the most unhinged. It was just so funny about the whole being gay and sex. And
That was the particular bit that people reminded me about.
Yeah.
That particular bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I remember having that conversation with Ken. He enlightened me about that.
right? I can never, bro. Every time I watch porn, I'm like, I have a reminder. You're being gay.
You're being gay. Right?
Yeah. Turn this shit off.
Well, like you've got to psyop yourself in positive ways.
Yeah.
I think that's like a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, like because you get psyoped to do like things that are not in your best interests all the time,
Yeah.
right? Like you got like your guilt and shame like trying to push you in a certain direction. So you might as well it works. So you might as well use it in a positive way. You
Yeah.
know, psyop yourself in any way you can.
I tried to do the red pill psyop.
Right.
Yeah. Where I just tell myself I'm never tired. It doesn't exist. Like I want to I treat it like depression or anxiety, where I don't accept being tired. I push it away until it's nighttime, and then I accept. Okay, now I can be tired.
Now it's sleepy time.
But when it's go time, I just don't. It's not real to me.
Yeah.
I just psyop myself into that. It's not a thing.
I like that.
Yeah.
Didn't Arnold Schwarzenegger say that like back in the day? He was like, I remember him at like speaking at some conference, and like someone asked him, like, oh, how many hours a night do you sleep, and what if you need like 8 to 10 hours of sleep? And he said, sleep faster.
Yeah.
This was his response. Same kind of science. It's brilliant. I love it. Yeah,
because it's like Andrew Tate always says that, like, if you don't believe in it, you can trick your mind into that it's non-existent, and you do that all the time. Like every time you have a suicidal thought, you like push it away, and you're like, no, like we're not doing this. Right?
Exactly.
So it's the same thing with tired or depression, anxiety, and like I even enjoy being anxious. Like when I start a workout and I'm like, this is gonna hurt, and I feel the anxiousness rush up. I'd use that. I channel it. You know, you just need the right outlet for anger and hate and all these kind of things. So
yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like like an anger outlet. I use like I call it like fuck you energy. I don't know how else you would describe it, but like the idea of like proving somebody wrong, or like I love having haters.
yeah,
This is the problem. Like I'm actually a really nice guy, and so the problem is that I don't get that much hate.
Yeah.
But when I do occasionally get hate, I'm good for like 3 months.
Yeah.
Like I don't need caffeine. I'm good. Like
Well,
I'll just focus on that thing.
yeah.
And
you
I'm just
reach
like
somebody farther than your like circle. Kind of like every time I see like, okay, you got a hater.
Yeah.
Well, you finally reached out of your circle, and like because they're all supportive and they all like think the same way.
Yes.
You got to reach. If you don't have haters, you just don't reach enough people.
yeah, it's like escape velocity
Yeah.
on your content or whatever. Yeah, and this is why I like going on like lots of different podcasts and stuff, because. And it's kind of mean because I like the creator who has me on will get a bit of backlash for having me on or whatever. But because I'll go through the YouTube comments like, who's this dickhead or whatever, you know? And I'm like, that's what I need. I need that. Sorry, Mr. Podcaster who just had me on. You're getting hate too, but I needed that, you know? So it's good. And it's that energy, you know, like yeah, you could say it'd be better if, you know, you built a business off the back of like love and you want to change the world and help people. But I think it's perfectly okay to build a business off the back of like, screw that guy for telling me I can't do it. I think that's fine. I think spite is a very powerful emotion.
Yeah.
You know, like so many guys, like I had this conversation with somebody. So this girl I know, and she broke up with her boyfriend. They've been going out for like a year or whatever. And she was telling me how he had like no motivation. Like he had a little business and, you know, he had a few clients, few contracts. He was making enough money to survive. And she was a bit more ambitious herself, and she wanted to be with a guy who was a bit more ambitious. And she was saying to me, she was really frustrated. They ended up breaking up over it because she couldn't really motivate him to like do anything more than he was current. He was happy with his current situation. Yeah. And she asked me, like, how could I have gotten him to do anything? And I'm like, you already did. You broke up with him. You broke his heart. unfortunately, for most men, that is about the only damn thing that will get a guy off the couch.
Yeah.
Like, if a guy is so comfortable in his world that he's not going to push and strive to do anything more, be that with his, like, physically, with his body, with his work, with his network, whatever, heartbreak is the best thing for him, and in that moment. Truly, I believe that.
There's nothing I'm more afraid of than being comfortable.
Right.
Yeah. Nothing that scares me more than like, yeah. That's why I don't really fuck with like weed, because like I like being frustrated. I like being unsatisfied with my life. I like reaching more and being like, this fucking sucks. And every time I smoke weed, I'm like, this is nice. Actually, you know, the shithole that I'm in and like the shitty situation, you can be happy with anything. It's the best if you have like cancer and you're about to fucking die, because you're like, oh man, this is kind of good. The shittiest food tastes good. The shittiest movie is fun. Your friends are so hilarious. You come up with the craziest shit. I hate that shit. Yeah. Sometimes it's fine, but like 99% of the time, I love my frustration, because it's the biggest catalyzer for change. You cannot change if you're not fed up. You know, you give a guy like mediocre sex, a little bit of income, and a fucking Netflix, and he'll be on the couch for life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, like being perpetually unsatisfied, because you're all, but it's like...
Not if you don't look for the happiness. I think I've stopped doing that. Like, I used to, like, until I was like 25, I've always looked for making myself happy. Now I just want to be useful.
Right.
Yeah.
It probably helps with you having kids, having a family, right?
That's the biggest... It's not about you anymore. Yes. Before you like live this life where you want to satisfy your needs, you want to be on a yacht, you want to like have a lot of money, and you want to like comfort your own feelings. And when you have kids, now you're responsible, and it's now about them. And you can still do you, but also you're constantly a role model, and you don't want to live a life of like narcissism in front of your son and him watching you being obsessed with yourself. It's incredibly gay.
That's also gay.
That's incredibly gay.
Right. You know what else is gay is smoking weed.
Yeah.
Smoking weed is the gayest fucking thing ever. Yeah. I cannot stand like weed. I can't stand women who smoke weed.
Yeah.
Like, there is no bigger turn off to me than a woman with a fucking bong.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I'm saying this because I've dated girls who've habitually smoked weed in the past.
Yeah.
And it's just something like...
Smoking weed with your girl, that's extremely gay.
Well, I've never smoked weed in my entire life. And I grew up in a little town that, like, they would grow it in the forest and stuff. And, like 90% of the people I went to school with, like, smoked weed at some point. And a lot of them didn't really leave the town because that's what they got comfortable. And I just saw that again and again and again. I'm like, that guy's got talent. Yeah. That guy's kind of skilled, like, and he's intelligent. Why isn't he doing anything? Oh, he's just smoking weed all day. Yeah. I just see that too much, and I think it's just a lot. You try saying like that weed sucks or weed's gay on like X, bro. Like, they just come out of the woodwork and just like attack you, like for being anti-weed. Like, people. You try to tell a weed smoker that weed is addictive. Oh boy, then they get really fucking angry. You're like, no, it's not. I'm like, why are you so aggressively defending this thing? Like, cool, like, chill out for a second, bro. Have you had your weed today? Is that why you're so angry? Huh? Because you didn't have your fucking joint yet? Bro, they cannot accept that it's addictive, and they cannot accept that it is just screwing up their life.
Well, the weed also tricks you into thinking you're like better or a better person.
Really?
When you're on high. So your life is better and you're better. You're like and it makes you feel less of a person sober. So it's a very slippery slope where it tricks you into like, you gotta do this. Yeah. Everybody likes you more and your life is better. And now, like, I've even seen rappers saying they produce their album with weed, and then 99% of their fans will follow along, and they'll never make this like $1 million rap album. And that you're that like 1% that like is successful high is like a very, I mean, that is like one out of a million that is like making a successful career being high. And even then, is that really worth anything, or, you know? Like, you're not Bob Marley. Yeah. You're not Joe Rogan. I mean, to be fair, Joe Rogan started smoking after he was already successful. Yeah. You know, you're not a Mike Tyson. Yeah. Mike Tyson was
already massively successful, and then he got into like the whole weed thing.
Yeah.
Like, cool. Like you've already accomplished more than most people have in their entire life. Cool. Go light up a joint. Like I'm not going to hate on you for that, but don't sit there and try to pretend that like. Yeah, and with the whole like rap music thing and like the synergy between that and weed, like rap music, I hate rap music, man. It's just such low vibration bullshit.
Yeah.
It's music for dumb people, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting a lot of hate for that, but like I can't really listen to rap anymore. I did listen to a bit. I used to like a bit of Kanye. I used to like a little bit of Eminem when I was growing up and stuff. But now I just look at it and I'm like, the way, I mean. Maybe this is old man talk, but like the way that rap is being produced now, it's just so degenerate. Rich coming from porn star, I get it. But it's degenerate in a totally different lane. You know, like rap videos are just like degenerate trash. Rap music, rap culture is degenerate and trash, and it's just such low IQ bullshit. I'm like, we don't need this crap. Like and white dudes. Like trying to like copy black people is the most pathetic thing on earth. Like, bro, you're not black. Like, why are you sitting there like growing dreadlocks and like wearing your pants down below your fucking hip and like smoking a joint? Why are you doing this? Like, do you hate yourself that much that you feel like you have to pretend to be black? I don't get this phenomenon. So, yeah, that'll piss a few people off.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, Joe Rogan loves weed. I mean, when he talks about it, I kind of like, I get it. I understand where he's coming from, but I don't, maybe it's also an age thing because like, I feel like the biggest danger is like for young people.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that it's like gonna ruin everybody's life, but I think a young contact with weed I've seen it too much.
Yeah, bro, you're just taking all this potential.
Yeah.
All this
and all
potential.
this drive.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose that drive.
Yeah. And you just get rid of it.
Yeah.
No.
And it gives you this like instant satisfaction. And that's like porn, bro, actually.
It's exactly like porn.
Because it's one click away, it's one light away, no hard work.
Yep.
And that's like the biggest thing I took away from last podcast is that everybody knows porn is not good. Everybody knows it's connected to like violence, trafficking, I mean, you name it, right? Everybody knows that. Everybody still watches it. Yeah. But the biggest thing that I've never heard before you told me is that you don't put in the fucking work. So if you watch this shit, your brain is getting satisfied with this hot chick without that like no status, you didn't get rich, you didn't get the car, you didn't get the job.
Nothing.
You don't carry yourself in like a majestic way that a woman is like attractive, or you're not even funny. You know, like there's many ways where you can get a lay, right? But you gotta do something. You cannot be a fucking low life, degenerate piece of shit and then still get pussy all the time. It just doesn't work that way. So this one click away is the same thing that fucks me up with weed. I don't like this shit. I don't like going to the gym because you can't do it because it's fucking hard to do that shit. You gotta put in that fucking work. Even if you're on steroids, you still gotta put in the work.
Yeah.
You cannot transplant it. You can't go and like fucking get the big butt, but you can't get the six pack. You can't get it. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So that's like weed is the same. It's one light away, instant gratification, instant like happiness or feeling better, and that is really teaching your brain to be a low life like fuck up.
It's teaching you to
be extremely gay.
Be extremely gay, first of all. And second of all, it's teaching you the opposite. Like it's destroying your ability to delay gratification.
Yeah.
It's sedation. It's escapism. Right. This is both weed and porn.
Yeah.
Right. And a bunch of other stuff falls into this category too. But it's escapism. Trying to get away from like that uncomfortable feeling. And the reason you might be feeling uncomfortable, guys, is because like it's your body telling you need to do something. Yeah. You're uncomfortable and you're depressed and you're not happy with your situation in life because something needs to change.
Yeah. And
just sitting there and like escaping that feeling ain't gonna. The feeling's still gonna be there when you sober up again.
Yeah.
The feeling's still going to be there when you have like post-nut clarity.
Yeah.
Like after you've done fapping.
Yeah.
Shit, it's going to come back. Yeah. You know, so you're not going to you can't run away from the problem.
Yeah. That's the best thing when you ejaculate and then you feel like a piece of shit. you felt so like turned on and you got the girl, you watch your little porn, and then when you come, instantly you feel this deep darkness, sadness, this fucking, what am I doing with my fucking life? You know, you just came on yourself like a fucking homo. And it's just like that will never, you'll never finish a porn and be like, feel good about yourself.
No.
You'll never be like, because you're like, I'm like with my little screen in my room, like, what the fuck? What am I doing? Right? And it's the same when you wake up. When I wake up and I smoked weed the night before, you wake up the next morning and you're like still a little off. You're like, whoa, like I always love when it leaves. It's like my favorite moment about smoking weed. But also you still feel like not sharp, not ready to go. You're not right there. You're not there fully.
Yeah.
And that, like you said, that will never. It's very different when I have sex with my wife. I feel I look at her. I feel really good once I come. I don't have that deep, dark sadness, you know?
The deep, dark pit.
Yeah.
You can't, your body knows. You can't trick your body. Like, it knows that you didn't work for that woman on the screen. It just knows.
Yeah.
And that is why you feel like a piece of shit. It knows.
Yeah.
You can't trick your own body. You can't trick your own mind. You know, you pretend to, like, lie to it all the time, but it knows. It's sitting there. It's, like, waiting for you to, like, start to fall asleep, and then it's like, actually, you're a piece of shit. It's just going to remind you, you know? So, yeah. No, don't fap and don't smoke weed. They both make you homosexual. That is, you know, the official candy can statement for the podcast.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. No, and enjoy the frustration and the pain. I think that is what really, if you are not happy with the life that you're having, these two things are just gonna make it worse.
Completely.
Yeah, like I guess, like, I hate being like that, but like I guess everybody can do what they want to do. But if you're not happy, you know, like if you want to be a fucking vegan, be fucking vegan. That's fine, right? But if you feel unhealthy and you're always fucking tired,
maybe eat some meat.
Yeah, eat some fucking meat then, you know. And it's the same with porn. And like if you have I don't know, like if you're happy with your life, maybe you can watch that here and there. Maybe you can smoke a weed at night. You know, maybe you're very successful in your job and you need that calm down. But if you're a young person that really wants change in their life, stay away.
Yeah. Like my friend Justin Worley has a really good saying. He's like, if you want to be success as a young man, like the key to a success is literally like just stay sober in your 20s.
Yeah.
That's it. That's like, and that's not talked about enough, because he's talking not just weed, he's talking alcohol, you know, like any of these, like, you know, Adderall, like getting on, and in America especially, getting on any of these like prescription meds and stuff. If you can avoid that entirely through your 20s as a guy, you're going to be so far ahead of everybody else, because you're not going to have all these things like slowing you down, sedating you, causing you to try to escape away from that pain. Like, you need to delay that gratification. You learn that patience, because it's a game of reps. It's a game of consistency. Like, whoever shows up the most is the one who's going to win at anything, be that YouTube, be that, having like your own podcast, creating a business, hitting into the gym, whatever it is. Like, consistency is the deciding factor. And if you just keep trying to escape, like, you're not gonna get anywhere. Yeah, and it's like some people can do it. Some people they want their just cozy 9 to 5, sit on a couch, play a video game here and there, smoke a bit of weed, and just check out of life. Cool. You can go, work at a checkout. Like, you can go work the supermarket line. You can go work the McDonald's. You can go, do all these sort of really switch your brain off jobs. But the guys who don't want that life, you've got to get sober. You've got to get away from all this stuff.
I don't know if I feel like they're tricked into that. I don't know if you're like a baby is born like a 9 to 5 baby. I think that is more like a creation, right. like the wife that wants a career. It's like you think you're being tricked into this,
right?
And you really believe, I don't need to accomplish anything. I'm happy with my job. I'm happy with going to work and watching Netflix at home. But I don't know if you're born this way. I don't feel like you're born this way. I feel like this is a long propaganda result that you really convinced yourself that you're a piece of shit. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with the career wife, like the career woman thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But what about with men? You think there's men that are just lazy piece of shits that don't need to accomplish anything? Or it's just like bad parents, bad environment, like they've never like had role models in their life that been like bullying them from like early age and been like, you got to do better, you got to be a better person. You
Yeah.
want more for yourself.
I think it. Yeah, if you have to be exposed to it as a younger guy,
Yeah.
like you have to.
Maybe the lack of exposure.
You have to know that it's a possibility.
Yeah.
You know, if you're like a perfect example, like when I was growing up, there was, you know, I'm from Southwest Western Australia. This is like pre-YouTube, right?
Yeah.
There's no like internet role models like you kind of have today. You have just unlimited access to like every successful entrepreneur on the planet, basically, through social media now, and that didn't exist. So it's like it wasn't until I was exposed to like entrepreneurship through like a conference I went to, and I'm like, this whole world opened up. Like, oh, holy crap! Like this is possible. Like, you know, this is what online business is. This is what marketing is. This is what copywriting is. This is what all these different skill sets are. Like, if I never had that exposure in my early 20s, I would never have gone down the path I'm in now. Yeah. So if you're an isolated guy, if you've grown up in a very isolated situation, I think it is hard to like know what's possible. You know, I think half the battle, at least, is like knowing what's possible. Yeah, because if you've never had any exposure to entrepreneurship, and this is why America's so good for that.
Yeah.
Is because you have an entrepreneurial culture where you reward it, you put people on a pedestal for doing well.
Yeah.
Other cultures don't have that necessarily.
I know, and then they put you down.
Very much so.
And in Austria, you get rewarded for not wanting, for living like not mediocre, but like living like peaceful and like with nothing and like minimalism and like just having nothing and being happy that way gets like rewarded, and the guy in the Lambo is the douchebag.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
In America, bro, Mr. Beast said that in the last podcast I listened to, is like, if you're doing entrepreneurship, if you're doing like fundraiser and helping people don't even like that. They like it more if you fucking have a yacht and a Bugatti and like doing the Andrew Tate thing than if you like give money to children in Palestine. Everybody's like,
bro, he
gay.
Yeah, Mr. Beast got like criticism for like he went. What did he do? He went to Africa and like,
and then they're immediately, well, you're doing that out of a incentive, you know, to like be a good person or like. Yeah,
and they shat on him for like curing blindness or something, like for a bunch of like kids in Africa. Like, you're a piece of shit. What? How are you coming to this conclusion that he's a piece of shit for helping people? I don't get it. Yeah, cool. He's like making a YouTube video out of it. Whatever. That's his job is to like make YouTube videos and entertain. He might as well at least like he can do two things at once. Like he can do his job and he can help people at the same time. This is possible. Yeah, that's an interesting phenomenon where like
it's very American,
isn't it?
Phenomenon.
It is a very American phenomenon where they just like they're obsessed with like.
I wonder it's like
the
kids.
flex lifestyle.
It's like kids, and I think when he cures people in Africa, you as a 10-year-old, you don't see yourself in that in that thing.
Yeah.
So it's like.
It's not as aspirational.
Yeah, but if he's giving $1 million to one of his American subscribers, you're like, that could be me.
Yeah, I get it.
Right?
It's very there's a lot of self-interest involved in that. Yeah.
So I think as like an older viewer, you can appreciate that, right? Because you know what the chances are to win a Mr. Beast games, right? But as a young viewer, that might just create a lot of backlash because now you're like. You're not focused on me anymore.
It's interesting, man. Like I had this conversation in a taxi yesterday with this guy who's lived in LA his whole life, and we were talking about all these like Twitch streamers and stuff like that that you have in like LA and in Miami in particular, and you watch what they do, and it's just they're not producing anything of real value. It's just pure like entertainment trash for the most part, for most of them, and it's kind of like a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
Where they go out into public and they do some really insulting stunts to like complete strangers, you know, and their bodyguards there like protecting them so they don't get physically their ass kicked, and it's like that is what a lot of young guys are growing up watching, and like and that's the role model, that's the aspiration, and it's like,
speaking about
that's fucked.
Race to the bottom, What do you think about Bonnie Blue and that other chick?
Bonnie Blue, Lily Phillips.
Yeah.
That's a race to the bottom,
Right?
Bro, that is.
I think they cracked like that new, like porn but viral, like things that like Leonard the Plug wanted to do and Adam 22. Like they started it.
Yes,
I would say.
I think actually Mia Khalifa started it.
Okay.
Mia Khalifa was the first. She's been doing this for years.
I know, but she
does
wanted-
the outrage like attention. Like
Yeah.
Mia Khalifa consistently for like every year, Mia Khalifa ends up in the news cycle somehow.
Yeah.
By talking about, I don't know, crying on camera or something about her career.
Yeah.
Like I was taken advantage of, I was exploited.
But it's a
Cool. And then
different Adam 22. They like put a cherry on the cake.
yeah, they took it to another level.
Yeah, it's
yes.
like Mia Khalifa like rounding up like 100 people. Like,
Yeah.
like she's going the petty like help
going the
me
opposite way,
victim
yes.
the victim way.
Yes.
As they
Yes.
they go the opposite. They're like, well, how can we make this even more obscure and like how like walking with calm in
Like,
public
how can
on
we
your
how
face.
can we create more outrage?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're right. Yeah. The Adam 22, like say what you will about Adam 22 and Lena and stuff. Like he's not dumb. He's a good marketer.
Yeah.
Evidently, right? You're all complaining about him and talking about him. So and it's we live in what's called an attention economy now, where it's all about eyeballs. How many eyeballs can you get on you? Like the more people you can get to pay attention to you, the more money you will make. And again, we look at Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips did the exact same thing. It was just outrage. They and now they're on like a bunch. They've been on a bunch of like
Now they're getting like,
conservative-ish podcasts and
Yeah.
stuff talking about it.
and I wonder how porn stars feel about that because they actually put in the work, right?
They put in more hours getting dicked down.
Yeah, they've been dicked down
Overall.
way more people, way more. There's never condoms. It's always like STDs and like it's insane. And they get paid like nothing, right? And then you have this freaking Bonnie Blue. Who knows if she even does all that stuff? And she makes millions. Like her monthly revenue on OnlyFans is millions.
It's in the millions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now she cracked it. Like she
kind of like cracked that.
fair play to her,
Yeah.
to Bonnie and Lily, and they played off of each other in a very clever way as well. Kind of like like you remember like Magic Johnson Larry Bird rivalry. Like back in the day, old school NBA, like that kind of thing. It reminded me a bit of that with Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips.
Yeah.
But secretly, like they're behind closed doors, they're friends and stuff. But it's just like, no, I'm going to sleep with more dudes than you. No,
Yeah.
I'm going to sleep with more dudes than you. Like, they created this rivalry out of it, and everyone talks about it.
Yeah.
And everyone's just getting giving them more and more attention.
Yeah.
And it's like, for every dude that is like raging about it and complaining and like, this is degenerate, this women should be locked up, blah blah blah. For every guy that says that, there's 10 dudes who subscribe to her OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I guarantee. Every time there's a dude who makes a piece of content hating on him.
And bro, Dan Bilzerian probably rounded up as many girls.
Easily. Yeah, easily. Yeah, Dan Bilzerian has done that. Has easily done that in his life.
Yeah.
No problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. People hate on him for that too. People have been hating on him for years for being a playboy.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro,
People also love him for that.
they love him. Secretly, they love him. They're jealous of him secretly.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, crack the code, man.
Yeah.
Like he cracked it. Like he figured it out ages ago. Like you just need that's like ostensibly social proof pre-selection. That's it. Like it's the single most attractive trait a man can have. If there was like, and you said this before, if there was like a bunch of different things that are attractive to women, let's say like being mysterious is one thing, being tall, being jacked, being handsome, right? Having resources like money, right? Having a good network of people you know, having maybe being charming, being funny. These are all different things we could call like attraction switches, right? On your switchboard, for example. Like where's the dial set, And if like everything else is like at a 1, but your social proof is at like a 10, game over. You're getting laid easily, consistently. It doesn't matter. You could be the most boring. I don't know how you get the women around you in the first place, but let's just say objectively, you could be ugly as fuck, basically broke, not really that funny. But if other women are hanging around you all the time, women are going to want to suck your dick. It's simple. Like it's the most powerful attraction trigger there is. Social proof and pre-selection. It's mind-boggling.
What do you think about Dan Bilzerian doing I love like that he like is like it's not it.
Like him going down, like getting married and going down like a more traditionalist path now.
Yeah, like having like one girlfriend and being like I'm not doing this anymore. Like it was fun when it was, and I was gonna ask you that too. Like, do you believe that it's better to get that dog out and try all pussy, and then be like, you're my wife, or to just never experience anyone and always wonder what's out there, kind of?
I think if you are, I think if a guy is like a virgin and he marries a virgin, I think that's fine and that can work very, very, very well.
Okay.
Like but they have to both be virgins, right? And they have to both only know each other. You know, I think in that scenario that's like got a very, very high success rate. I'm pretty sure statistically that is probably the best success rate out of any matchup. But then when you get, the problem is the grey area between that and then the Dan Bilzerian or a degenerate like me or something, right? Where it's just you've gotten the dog out, so to speak, because then it's very easy to take your pick. You have more choice, objectively speaking, when you get to that. When you've been through, a large number of women, you understand female psychology, you understand female attraction, what turns them on, what doesn't, etc. You can be more selective when it comes to finding a woman, and in a way, you can be spoiled for choice, which makes the choice harder. Like the average guy doesn't really have the kind of choice that like a Dan Bilzerian has, and so it's actually, you could make the argument that it's objectively easier for him to like just settle down because he's like, okay, this one will do. Like this is the only one I have access to. This is the only one that's attracted to me, so I'm going to have a family with her. Whereas Dan, Dan saw like the worst aspects of women, because he saw like how easily they were like aroused by just pre-selection. Like, and he talks about it. He saw how he could just be a complete dick, and it wouldn't matter. Like, so guys can see like the worst aspects of women when they have that, and it can make them, a bit black-pilled to a degree, probably. And so that's why, like, I think he went down that more traditional path now.
What's black pill?
Black pill is like when you're in a depressed like, oh god, everything's horrible. Like all women are bad. Like the world's gonna end. This is like really depressing stuff. That's black pill.
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't think that's not a good place for guys to get to. Yeah. But I think like is there a happy medium? Yeah, my friend Myron Gaines, he says you need to sleep with 50 women before you settle down with one. Like, I don't think I get what he's saying with that statement. It's like, look, you need to understand female nature. You need to, like, and I think that number is different for every guy. Like, it took me a lot more reference experiences of women to, like, get it than, like, other friends of mine who, like, they got it from really, really early on. To like truly understand what women are about and their real nature and be able to predict them. So I think that number is different for every guy. I think it just comes down to like your pattern recognition ability and how quickly you learn and recognize patterns.
What about cheating? Because I feel like Dan Bilzerian is not somebody I would think is like cheat, because like he knows what it's like. He knows what it's like to fuck the nicest top model, kind of like he's like if he chooses somebody, he will choose it more for a like wife kind of get my children kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And a no schmo who has never had some other pussy, and then like he goes out and there's a woman that finds him attractive for the first time in 10 years. I feel like that is like very like, oh, like what is it gonna be like? Oh my god, like do I have to try this? And then he tries it and it's not as good, and then he cheated and then it's over, kind of. Where like somebody that has had everything, is very unlikely, I feel like.
Yeah, it's like sex loses its like power over you.
Yeah, the more you have it.
The more you have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
otherwise it's like something magical where women can like dictate your life.
Completely.
But when you had a lot of sex, like even like Andrew Tate is like, how good is it really? Like fuck off, like.
Yeah. I mean, he just has sex to have kids.
Yeah.
Like, that's ostensibly like his goal. Is just to have an army of like sons like around him. So it's like there's a very, very clear like it's not sex for pleasure. It's sex for like family recreation, basically. And it's like.
Also, that's the most pleasurable sex in my experience.
Right.
Like when you're trying to make a baby.
Right.
Like for real. You're not tricking your dick with a condom
No.
like a horse.
No.
You're actually, this is like what we're going for. That is like the most pleasurable sex you can have.
Well, sterile sex is homosexual,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If a woman's on birth control or you're having sex with a condom,
Yeah.
having sex to not reproduce
Is gay.
is what gay dudes do.
Yeah.
So you're gay.
So it is gay.
If you have sex with a woman on birth control,
Yeah.
you're
So
gay.
if you're fucking a girl with a condom,
You're gay.
you're gay.
You're basically gay.
Yeah.
If you don't want to have a kid, you're gay.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
Obvious. But what got us on that train of thought? You were talking about you were talking about Dan. You were talking about
If
cheating.
it's better,
You were talking about cheating.
Yeah, if it's better, because I agree. You gotta try out. Like as a man, as a woman, it's the opposite. I feel like you're the most wanted and the most like desired if you are untouched and innocent and like nobody wants to take out a Miami girl that has been with 100 dudes.
Well, it's because they develop. The unfortunate problem is they become very resentful. You try. Like I've dated girls, in the like early 20s, and I've dated girls in the like late 20s, early 30s, and there's a massive difference in terms of like how pleasant they are, because the girl who's just. And it is typically dictated by how many. I've dated girls in their late 20s, early 30s who are super lovely and pleasant and really agreeable and very feminine, but they've basically just had like 3 boyfriends their whole life. You know what I mean? Like they have spent that whole time in long-term relationships versus the girl who's had, who's had one-night stands, who's been the friends with benefits, the fuck buddy. She's sort of been put through the ringer a bit in that same objective length of time, like for 10 years. That woman is going to end up being a lot more jaded and bitter, unfortunately. Like she's going to be more resentful of guys. She's going to be like more guarded, like, is this guy a dickhead who's just going to, fuck me and run away again? Like they develop that resentment a bit towards men. And it's like, you come along and you're like, well, you're lovely, but like you've got this resentment that I have, like you've got all this baggage now that I have to like deal with. And it's like, I'm not a charity. Like, why do I have to deal with the baggage when I could just date a girl who's like younger and doesn't have the baggage, And from the opposite perspective, the dude, it's completely different. Like a guy like a Dan Bilzerian, Andrew Tate or whatever, like who's had a lot of women, they don't get resentful as much towards women. They understand female nature more. They understand like the dark nuances of female, nature, and they understand women can be a little bit manipulative and stuff, but it makes them harder to manipulate, makes them more attractive, So they don't come with this like added baggage. In fact, they become more and more attractive the more experiences they get, the more they understand female nature, the more they understand women, the female body, etc. Especially, the more money they make, the more career choices they have, the more network, opportunities they have. They just become more and more attractive. And it's like versus the younger guy who's really got not much going for him except maybe his looks, right? So it creates this interesting dynamic, I think. And a lot of women will get super. I've got one video that went like, it just pisses women off, and it was like me saying like, you probably shouldn't really take a girl seriously unless she's like under 24. If she's over 24, it might be a bit too late for all the reasons I just mentioned. Like they've been through college, especially if they've been through college and they're going into a career. Like it's just indoctrination with feminism for 4 years, and then into the workforce where they're in their masculine and they have to be very, very like, they have to take responsibility and they're in charge and they're very bossy and et cetera, et cetera. They've got to develop this aspect of their personality rather than the feminine, submissive aspect of their personality. It's like, okay, well now I've got to work against this. I've got to like put the time and effort in to like deprogram all this crap, right? To make this into a happy relationship. I'd rather just go with a girl who's younger and hasn't got all that baggage personally, and that's, women will hate on me for that because it's like, I'm reducing their dating options if any dude listens to me. So they get a bit bitter and jaded about it, but it's like, I didn't make you go to college. I didn't make you like choose the career path. You could have got married at like 20. There's plenty of dudes around, but a lot of women have a very high expectation of like one from a guy. It was a really funny joke I saw on like on a comedian tell on Twitter the other day. And it was like talking about this department store for like, it was like the Find a Husband department store. And it was like floor 1, it's like floor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? And it was like, you can, if a woman comes into the husband department store, she can go to the first floor, pick her husband and leave, or she can move up a floor, but she can only visit the store once, right? So if she keeps going, like if she leaves, like that's it, and she can't go back down the floor again, right? So first floor is like these men have jobs. That's like floor number 1. Cool. Second floor is like these guys have jobs and they're funny, right? The third floor, these guys have jobs, they're funny, and they're good looking. It's like, oh, great. And the next one is like jobs, funny, good looking, and likes kids or wants a family. It's like, oh, amazing. And then you go to floor 5, it's like job, funny, good look, likes kids, and I don't know, is rich, right? And then it's like, oh, this woman gets to like floor 5. She's like, oh, I don't know, I've just got to go to floor 6, see what the next floor is. And it's like, gets to floor 6. It's like, you are visitor number 32,476. This floor is just designed to prove that nothing can satisfy a woman. And it's like, fuck, they all end up on like floor 6, basically, because they just keep wanting more and more and more and more, rather than understanding like, look, you got to cash your chips in at some point. You really do, as a woman. Like at some point, you got to like look objectively and be like, look, I think the most successful couples are the ones that are like the high school sweethearts for the most part. Like if you're, and I've had young guys reach out to me and say like, hey, I've got this girl, like I'm 18 or I'm 19 or I'm 20 or whatever, and this is my girlfriend, and like I want to pursue, I want to build a business, pursue entrepreneurship, whatever. Like, should I like, put that relationship aside and like, forget about women for a while, be a playboy, whatever, like, or just focus on my career, focus on me. And I tell the guy, like, bro, just turn her into a wife, bro. Like, turn her into a wife. Like, if she's a good woman, cool. You guys have history from the start. Like, turn her into a wife. Like, and once you have kids, you're gonna like work twice as hard on your business anyway. So like, it's all positive. It's all win-win. Like, don't discard that young woman because you want to be like a hustle bro and you want to be like a playboy or what the fuck. Like, bro, we need more babies. Crank out babies. Like, we need more of that, Went on a rant there for a while, Ken. Sorry.
No, I like it. And, man. But back to Bonnie Blue. Speaking about your Twitter thing that you saw, everybody has seen this thing where, like, women also only, like, they go up, like what you said, right? And they also only date up.
Yeah.
They don't date, like, down, right? So they want, like, somebody more successful, making more money, more status. Where does Bonnie Blue, like, where does that go to?
What do you mean? Like, where does...
Is she gonna end up with, like, a happy family?
Right.
Is it even possible?
Well, bro, look...
Is there gonna be, like, copycats that, like, everybody's gonna try breaking a record? Like, where is this, like, leading to?
Where's this leading?
Right? And how can you top that, right?
Well, it's a race to the bottom, like I said. I mean, but look, there's examples of porn stars who've got kids and a family and a husband and stuff. Like I think Riley Reid's a perfect example. She ended up married with a kid, doing the thing, and then sort of like basically disappeared from the public limelight. Like, I think it is ostensibly possible. There's gonna be some guy who is willing to take that.
What about Mia Khalifa?
She had an unsuccessful marriage, from my understanding.
Yeah.
And I think it was Mia who the guy ended up breaking up with her because he was just like the public dudes reminding him that they've seen his wife getting smashed online is like just got to him. I think that happens a lot of times. So like, if a Bonnie Blue ends up, in 5 years' time finding a guy who was willing to marry her, this is advice for her. She needs to like leave the internet and download, like remove Internet Explorer and all social media apps from her husband's phone too, because otherwise he is just going to get endless shit, and it'll drive him mad, and he will break up with her. Yeah. Like, it's impossible. Like they will have to remove themselves from all social media. in order to make that successful. Unless the guy is like an
Driven by that.
Unless the guy is like an Adam 22.
Yeah.
That's the only other
he gets,
exception.
like off of that.
It's the only other exception. Who is, I can't remember the name
He
of that.
likes money more.
I mean, I think money and in the limelight.
Yeah.
Like it's more of like it's an exhibitionist and a voyeuristic thing for him, I think.
But also, like, you don't know behind the scenes. Like, maybe they spend like 90% as a happy family.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? Because
Exactly.
those short, even with Bonnie Blue, like, she might have that one day where she fucked 100 guys, but maybe like the rest of the year she dates and like is like an angel.
Maybe. I don't think that's the case. If I was a gambling man, I would not bet money on that.
Okay.
But yeah, like it's dudes will get like so. Here's the funny thing though, like guys will get so fucking fired up, and like these dudes are on like a moral high ground, like, and especially, and I don't want to try to shit on Christians, but like you get, especially in America, you get a lot of like conservative types, Christian types will, you know, say some really like nasty things, you know, about a Bonnie Blue or whatever. And it's like, bro, like she ain't gonna fuck you. Like it's like they're hating on a woman who would never even give them the time of day anyway. You know? It's like she doesn't care about your opinion. She's just like if anything, you're helping her get more attention. You gotta realize that. Like she's baiting you into hating her for a reason. Like she's not dumb. She's playing you. Effectively, so like you playing into that, she's just won again and again and again. Every time you do it, you know, it's like, okay, like, yeah, morally, you don't have to agree with it. Morally, you don't like it, whatever. Like, if you don't want to see more of that in society, stop amplifying the signal. That's really what you need to do. You need to stop amplifying the signal, because every time you like make outrage content about it, all you're doing is amplifying a signal. That's all you're doing, you know. So there's a lesson in it.
No, even I saw Andrew Tate speaking like positive about it, because he's like, well, at least she doesn't pretend. She knows she's a hoe. And
right.
She does hoe things.
Yeah.
And there's some sort of smartness behind it that you cannot kind of ignore, like how they're doing it, right? So he said the worst is when you're a hoe, but you pretend to not be a hoe.
You're a secret hoe.
It's your secret hoe, right?
Right.
You get run through, but you pretend to be an angel, kind of.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think look, the world needs sluts. We do. We need sluts. And let's not pretend for a second that, you know, people have this very idealistic view of the past, right? Let's say of the 1950s America, right, for example, right? Like the baby boomers when they were growing up. It's like they still fucked around, guys. Like there was still sluts. And the dudes, no, people weren't like all these, yeah, we had more stable families and stuff, but dudes were having like families in like another city.
Yeah.
They'd have two families simultaneously. This happened a lot in America. Like this was a common thing. So like there were sluts, and you know, people were fucking around still. It's just now it's been taken to another level. Let's not be like the numbers have definitely gone up, right? But we've also broadcast it fucking everywhere. But my point is, the world needs sluts because there's always going to be men who have a hard time attracting women of quality. And the sluts play a role in society. They take care of the sexual needs of the masses of men who are, you know, building themselves up, shall we say. Like they're on their way to being an attractive guy, but they're not quite there yet. So these women who have lower standards for the men they will sleep with, they serve a purpose in society. A society without any sluts, you would probably end up with a giant chunk of very sexually frustrated men who would turn violent very quickly because they couldn't attract a wife. But we don't need a society that's all sluts. Like our slut to wife ratio is off balance. You know, we're putting too many sluts on a pedestal and giving them so much attention, and they're making millions of dollars, you know? So we shouldn't be a society which is aspirationally slutty. You know what I'm saying? The sluts have a place.
Yeah.
But the numbers need to come down, you know? for us to have that equilibrium, that balance again. Because right now it's just all sluts and no dude can find a wife now. He's like, oh, fuck, I get my nuts off, but where's the mother? I can't make a family.
Yeah.
So
and nobody wants to make babies anymore.
That too,
right?
No one wants to make babies anymore because because the currency is worthless and we can't afford fucking put a roof over your head onto a single household income. It's actually an economics problem.
Yeah.
The whole the decline and the degeneracy of of male female relationships, the problems. It's actually an economic problem. People are like, oh, it's a lack of morality, it's a lack of religion, it's a lack of family, it's a lack of, yes, all these things are true, yes. But the root cause is actually an economic one. If you had a stable currency that was actually backed by something, that wasn't hyperinflated, wasn't printed out of nothing, if you didn't have usury and debt slavery, effectively, right? If we got rid of all this stuff, okay, you can a regular guy who works a regular job can afford a home, can afford a car, can provide for his wife, can provide for kids. If you have that scenario, if the money is good, you can have that scenario, and then women don't feel the need to go get a job, to pursue a career, to turn to prostitution, to put food on the table. It's actually an economic problem. Yeah. And that's a boring answer, but I think that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because not that long ago, you could afford a home. Everybody could afford a home.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. You look at the baby boomer generation in America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They had all that.
Yeah.
They were able to have you could work a regular job in a factory, afford a house, afford a car, look after your wife, look after kids. You could do that on a single income from a regular job. That was peak Americana. I think that was probably, I think American, I've looked at this number, technically American, the best standard of living ever was 1970s America that has ever been in the history of the world, of recorded history that we know of, is 1970s America. That was it, the peak.
Yeah.
And then we've gone fucking straight downhill ever since then.
Well, if all your other needs are covered, then you can be wondering and trying, and you open up to more possibilities of I'm ready for this kind of, rather than when you're busy, just.
Well, we don't have time to think anymore. People can't think. If you have to spend all of your waking hours trying to pay off a mortgage and pay off a credit card debt and put a roof over your head, people can't be there's no philosophers, there's no sculptors, there's no painters and artists and things like this. You don't have time to think creatively and do more aspirational things.
Yeah.
This is why the architecture we have is so boring and depressing.
Yeah.
But I hate modern architecture. It's shit. It's not. You go to Vienna. Look at the beautiful buildings you have in Vienna. Look at the beautiful buildings you have in any classical city, because those people had time.
Yeah.
You have time to really dive into your art and create something beautiful when you're not working. When you're basically not a debt slave. You can have aspirational things in your society. So it all of it comes back down to an economics issue, I think. Yeah.
Dang. And Elon always says those numbers where Japan, South Korea, Italy, they have, there's only going to be old people.
Yeah, it's a negative birth rate.
Everybody gets older.
Yeah.
And there's not enough babies.
Yeah.
At all.
Yes.
Not even close.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the answer, and Australia is doing this.
Mm-hmm.
England has done this for ages. A lot of America's doing it. What the politicians do instead of fixing the actual problem is their band-aid solution to the declining birth rate or the flattening birth rate is, let's just import millions of third world people into our country, which completely fucks it up. Yeah. It completely screws it up. There's a reason Somalia looks like Somalia and the Netherlands looks like the Netherlands. These two, they're not the same. We're not the same people. Yeah. Objectively, because we produce very different cultures. And if you try to pretend that you import, millions of Somalians or Pakistanis or whatever into these different European countries that they're going to assimilate, they obviously haven't. We know that this multicultural experiment has completely failed and completely backfired. obviously, to anyone with a brain and a pair of eyes that work, you can see that that didn't work, you know. And it's like these politicians are weak. They don't want to address the root cause of the problem, which is that the money is funny. There's nothing good about fiat currency. We need to and that's it's a very radical proposition, but we need to reset that whole system because the financial system is fucked.
Yeah,
it is just debt slavery. That's all it is. Sorry to get so serious for you, Ken.
no, it's good. Looks like with Bitcoin, we might experience that change, and also I feel like they're going even further than the immigrants. I feel like when I look at like Amazon or food deliveries, or it's all becoming like robots. So you don't need those people to work anymore. You don't need the slave jobs. You don't need the restaurant workers. Everything is going to be digitalized, and all these jobs, driving, there's not going to be cars anymore. Nobody's going to own a car.
Right.
That's like thousands of men losing their job, but also like there's no new babies. So like kind of like you're just like exchanging it.
You're exchanging people for robots.
For robots, yeah. And then you don't need that many people anymore.
Yeah. I drove past my first ever driverless car I've seen ever here in LA yesterday.
Yeah.
They're
everywhere.
This is wild.
Yeah.
Like, this is the future. This is what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting.
But like that means like less people.
Yeah. The argument is like people make the argument that like, you know, when we have that sort of tipping point, you switch to like something like universal basic income. I don't think that's a solution, personally. I don't think that's a solution. Yeah. I don't know what the answer is to fixing that problem, because it's like,
it's
you don't want to stop technological innovation, but people want jobs. People need to work. People need to actually do things. Like if you have someone just laying around all day doing nothing, they go into a mental depression. Like, it's not healthy for people to do that at all. And even it's not healthy to have like all these things like it's so convenient at the touch of a button either. Yeah. Like, you can get a taxi with the touch of a button. You can get food at the touch of a button. You can see a naked woman at the touch of a button with OnlyFans or whatever. Like, all these things are too convenient, in my opinion. Like, you kind of need a lot of self-discipline to detach from these things because it's so goddamn convenient.
No, and now we like fill our lives with like hard. Or that's at least what I'm doing, is like fill it with like hard stuff. So you have like the gym, you have like the cold plunge. You make it harder because it's going so, like you said, everything is a click away. So you have to like put these like hard things, implement them.
Yes.
Otherwise you go mad as a man.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need the human body responds positively to both mental and physical stress.
Yeah.
You need stressors. You need them, and that's actually an interesting point, because I think that we spend so much of men spend so much of our life trying to take stress away from women as well. Like, we're trying to make women's lives easier, effectively, right? And I actually think that's been a tremendous mistake, because women need to be under stress as well. If men respond positively to stress, well, I would come to the conclusion then that women probably need it as well, but in a different form. Because if you look at like, you know, the families that built like the frontier of America, right? That's a very stressful time to be in for like the man and the woman too. They're both under a lot of stress, but they built great things, and they built a great society. And it's like you don't get a great society when the women are super duper comfortable as well. I don't think you do. I think they have like, and what's I'm just hypothesizing as I'm saying this. So what like stressful things do women need? Like, if a dude needs like the gym, for example, if a dude needs like physical stress to make him stronger and a better man, right? What does a woman need? And I think, you know, the responsibility of a child is probably a big one.
Yeah.
It's a pretty obvious one. Like, they need the stress of keeping a baby alive
and giving birth.
Yeah, I think they truly need those things, because if they don't, what ends up happening? Like, they buy a bunch. What ends up happening time and time again is a woman without kids ends up getting cats and dogs and stuff. They need the stress of looking after something. They need to nurture something. Women have this desire to feel useful. Like, if a woman doesn't feel useful in any way, that freaks them out. They get super anxious.
Purpose.
They need something. Yeah. They need some purpose, and they very often they fill it with cats. Unfortunately, they just fill it with cats. That purpose is like, okay, I'll get another cat.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's not going to cut it.
Nothing disgusts me more when people mistaken dogs or cats. for babies. Like there's this one guy in my gym, and he has like a baby carrier, and he puts his dog in there, and it's not cute.
It's not a baby.
It's not a baby. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is not, and everybody accepts this shit. And I want to be like, yo, you're getting this wrong. You're doing this wrong. Like, every time I go hiking and I see like a couple like with a stroller and a fucking dog in there, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing with your life? I really want to stop and be like, you gotta get pregnant. This is not it. This will never satisfy you.
Yeah.
This is not it. The dog doesn't want to be in there. You don't want to have. What the fuck are you doing, bro? What is that?
Yeah.
Like, and that is like, that's normal. People accept that.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely normal to have a dog in a stroller.
Yeah.
In LA.
Oh yeah, in Miami too.
Bro.
Same thing.
It's sickening.
I remember I had that exact thought like a couple of years ago, walking around like Midtown in Miami, and it's just dogs and strollers. Yeah. It's dogs and strollers.
It's nothing against like dogs or dog owners. It's about like you mistaking it with a baby.
Yeah.
Like it's not a baby. No. You're not a parent. They call themselves dog parents. I know. You're not a parent.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. You don't know what it's like, bro. You have no idea. You're always in a puppy phase. Bro, you have no idea what it means to like decide if your baby is gonna get a vaccine shot or not. You know, like shit like that. Like or what he's gonna eat, where he's gonna go to school, all this shit.
Yeah.
Like this is just a dog, bro. And they're not that like, bro, they eat until they fucking vomit. They're like, oh my God, they're so smart. How smart can you be if you eat your own vomit? I mean, you gotta be dumb as fuck. I mean, the dumbest animal on this fucking planet. And if that is the smartest animal, then every animal is pretty fucking dumb. I mean, my son doesn't fucking eat his own vomit. Like, that is disgusting and dumb. It's extremely fucking dumb. It really irritates me.
No, I'm a dog guy. I love dogs, but it's not a baby. For fuck's sake. A dog is like where I come from, a dog is like a tool. It's like a working animal.
Yeah.
You know, it has a purpose. Like, you know, and that's the same with if you're on a farm. It's the same with every animal. Like the chickens are basically like waste disposal units that turn trash into eggs. You know, like sheep and cows turn fucking like grass into like
steak,
milk, like the white man's superfood, raw milk, and fucking wool, like the best clothing material you can possibly get. Yeah. It's like there's a synergy. They're used. They have a purpose. Yeah. Right. The purpose of a dog and a cat is not to fulfill your need for having a child. Yeah. It is not their purpose, and they never will be. So you need to have kids because look at it this way: like cats and dogs are like so like independent so quickly compared. Like a baby needs you for a long time before it's independent. Yeah. You know, and there's a reason for that. And again, I think it comes down to that, especially for women. It comes down to that need. You need that stress. And these women who go off and have become dog mums and cat mums, they're trying to avoid the stress. They're trying to perpetually live in their comfort. Yeah. That area, like they're just chasing comfort, right? When they need to put themselves under stress again, and having a baby. And first of all, they need to find a guy who will have a baby with them and won't run away. That's a good starting point. But once they found that, then they need to crank out some kids. And it's like kids are not as expensive as people make them out to be. People stress out about it's expensive to have a child. Bro, is it though? You've got 2 kids. How expensive is it?
Bro, I need way more than the kid.
Right.
The kid needs nothing. I mean, it's like your choice. Like, does he need to go to private school? Fuck no. Like, I can afford it, I'll do it. If I can't afford it, fuck off. You're gonna get new clothes? No. If I can't afford it, you wear your brother's clothes. I mean, bro, especially the more kids you have, they just like, the machine runs itself. It's like the easiest thing in the planet. I think the first one, probably the hardest, for sure. Right. Doing that step. Yeah. But no, like kids, like it has nothing to do with money. And also like you're extremely incapable if you don't have a kid. You don't know what you're capable of until you have a kid. Let's say it that way.
That's good.
Yeah. As a man, you're like, wow, I can do this. Yeah. But not until you don't know. You don't know until you know, kind of. You got to have a kid to experience like, wow, I can really dive into that. And I think what you say about stress, I think what you need to experience is that it's not about you. Yeah. Life is not only about you. And this is this is why we have pronouns. This is why everybody's depressed, because it's about me. Look at me and my problems and my needs.
Internalizing everything.
I need porn and I need a pronoun and I need to be important rather than what do you need? Who can I provide for? Who am I responsible for?
Yep.
And that gives you real purpose. And I think that's what a woman needs.
I would completely agree with
because like stress, like I don't think a woman needs to go to war or protect herself or make money, or I think that like might frustrate her and make her bitter.
Yeah, that when I say stress, that's not the kind of stress I'm talking about with women.
But she cannot be having a dog and then like living her bachelor life and not like there's things you need to do when you have a baby, and that those stressors you from a baby you'd need as a woman for sure.
How did you find that your like you just said that you saw a whole bunch of things in yourself when you had a kid.
Yeah.
What did you notice change in your wife when she had the kid?
Well, marriage and dating and all that means nothing until like that's all paperwork stuff.
Right.
But once she has your child, it's a different relationship to the mother of your child.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
That will never change and you can't get rid of that.
Right.
So that is like the kind of like when you said like your childhood sweetheart, that is like the same effect for me, because then in this moment, this is unchangeable and unthinkable, like to go around it or change it up or what else is there. Kind of like now she's the mother of your children and that will never change. And that makes the relationship more of a, like she's like your vessel kind of, you gotta like educate her, keep her healthy, like, because like, you know how much your child needs her.
Yeah.
You're fucking useless, especially the first 2 years. You're just like, you're just there.
Yeah.
But it's not you and the kids and the wife. It's more like you watch them, her breastfeeding the baby, keeping the baby alive, nurturing the baby, and the baby constantly crying for the mother.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And once you know like how important that is for your child, and since the child is everything to you, now the mother is also everything to you, more than before.
Right. I had a friend who's had a couple of daughters, and he said that his first kid, he was stressing out because he was trying to help and trying to be like the baby would cry, he's trying to like comfort the baby. He's like, and nothing worked because the baby wants the mother. Yeah. And he realized like until like 6 months in, he didn't even exist as an entity in the baby's mind. Like after 6 months, the baby started to like make eye contact with him and actually recognize him. Oh, that's okay. This man is around us a lot, around us, like mum and me, right, as the baby. Yeah. And then then when he had the second daughter, he just didn't even bother for the first 6 months. And he was like, oh, it was so much obviously that sounds bad. Like he wasn't stressing out about the fact that the child didn't give a fuck about him, and so he could focus on helping his wife do what she needed to do instead. Yeah. You know, he understood his role better when he had the second kid. I thought it was an interesting insight.
Absolutely.
You found the same thing?
Yeah, and also like, bro, the first one is like an experiment.
Yeah.
Because you're a first-time parent, you try to do everything right, and you do kind of like everything wrong, or like you'll do it different the next time. Yeah. Obviously, because you just learn so much. Every generation is different, so you can't really take advice from your parents as much as you would want to, because there's so much change with all the changes in the world. So the second one is like a walk in the park. And also you just don't care as much.
Right.
You know, you're just not like as like anal about every single detail.
Got it.
You just take it easier. You're already used to this. You've done this before. You know what you're doing. And as a man, you just support the wife rather than the kid.
Yeah.
Because that helps the kid ultimately more, 100%. And but the most beautiful thing is that it's not about your needs anymore. And I think that is the most satisfying. And that is what I witness in the world, what's going on. Like, they all make sense that, like, people that don't want children and don't have children make choices and differences that benefit themselves rather than the whole community.
Yeah.
And that is, like, where we have to go back to is, like, how can we, like with Elon, how we started the conversation is, like, how this guy literally wants to, like, go on a different planet, right? And that should be like our main purpose is that we're planetary to survive. That should be like our main purpose rather than like taking over another country.
Right.
It's like, how can we all survive in this and have our kids, our future, right, survive? And like these like kind of things, or if we do hepatitis B shots for babies, like these kind of choices or education system, like this is like for the future, not for me right now. How can I have a bigger house and buy a bigger whatever, right? How can I make the children's children healthier and better?
Yeah. I don't understand anyone who could possibly shit on Elon. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, what? Where's your rocket? How could, like, I see people calling him stupid.
Yeah.
I really do. I see people calling Elon Musk stupid. I'm like, what the fuck is your problem? How are you, like, if you call Elon Musk stupid, I assume you have an IQ of 80 immediately. Because there's no way you could objectively look at that man's accomplishments and think he's dumb. Like, he's building rockets, for God's sake. Like, when he started the company, he literally just read like a bunch of like rocket textbooks to like, okay, we're going to build a rocket company. Let's just go nerd out for months and read books. Like, no one does that. He's got so much energy in his life, and I love watching him. Like, every time he's like hanging around Trump and the White House stuff, he's got his kid with him. Like, always like piggyback at him everywhere.
They even hate on that.
Yeah, what the fuck? How do you hate on that?
No, they come up with the dumbest shit. Like, I've seen him, like, they lip reading, like, what the kid is, like, saying, and bro, they go so far. And, like, even if he's, like, what they call it, like, paid opposition.
Yeah.
Controlled opposition, and that he's, like, doing this evil plan, after all. But so far, he's only, like, helped, like, people in like wheelchairs being able to control their computer with their mind. He like saves astronauts. He like releases all this corruption. I mean, where do you get this like evil plan? Like, I get like that, like a man in this position can do a lot of evil shit. I get it. Like, I get it. Like, you turn the chip different. Like, I get it. Like,
the thing is, there was already a bunch of people in positions of power in the U.S. government doing some very evil shit.
Exactly.
There was objectively, and he's uncovering a whole bunch of it with the Doge project.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, to me, that's super like. It's scary to think, you know, had Trump turned his head like this, we would not have seen any of this. Like, I think we all kind of like, everyone who was right wing kind of knew there was some fuckery going on with, you know, like all these NGOs and the USAID stuff. And it was like we didn't know exactly where and what was going on. Everyone always talked about it like, oh, it's George Soros funded stuff. Turns out it was a bit more simple than that. And it's like, man, one inch of like turning his head a different way, and we don't uncover any of this corruption. So U.S. taxpayers would have continued to fund all this fucking nonsense ad infinitum for forever, had he not turned his head slightly left. Like, it's nuts. We're in an amazing timeline right now, because that's like, I don't want to imagine what that world would have been like with Kamala in charge. Holy shit.
I know, I can't imagine, really. Yeah. I mean...
But I like what Elon's doing. I hope Elon keeps pushing harder and harder. Like,
I really want to have someone on the podcast, like, explaining...
Who's pro-Kamala?
Yeah, and, like, against Elon, like, and really understand...
Like, dive into their psychology.
Yeah, where it's coming from. It's really hard, but every time I try, they don't do it. They don't like long form. They don't like podcasts. I mean, they really keep it, like... Because they don't want to be exposed or ask too much. They rather just post their little bits, and like it's almost impossible to get somebody.
Damn.
Yeah. Because I would be really open, and it would be kind of like interesting, like where they're coming from, right?
Yeah, completely. I think
like where do they get this like Nazi, all this shit from, kind of?
Well, he put his hand up at the wrong angle. You see?
Yeah.
You know, this is like.
And then there's all these shots from everybody else doing it.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. It's like, I've seen Elizabeth Warren doing it. I've seen a bunch of people like doing it. It's you know, like people ask me. I had someone ask me about that. What do you think about the whole Elon doing his hand at a certain angle? It's like, well, where is the acceptable angle of a hand? It's like, this is saying hello. This is like patting a dog, and this is like evil. Like it's the wrong angle. It's like a degrees thing. Okay, interesting. But I think it's blood memory. Like, I think why people just do that when they're excited.
Yeah,
they just go like. They go like this when they're excited. I think that because like it's a Roman salute for a start. It's an old Roman thing, you know.
No, and what else has he done that is like Nazi?
Yeah, exactly.
Other than that, like okay, let's say he did it. He wanted to do it, but anything else there, you know, that is like goes that direction. I mean, it's crazy. He's like, and like it's just very odd. Like one person that gives you free speech and gives you all these great products can be hated. It really works.
This much.
The propaganda machine is incredible.
Yeah,
People-
I'll push back a little bit on like the free speech thing. Yeah, X has a lot more free speech than it was.
Yeah.
But there are still like accounts getting shut down, and like the Groypers got shut down. A whole bunch of Australian nationalists got their accounts shut down. Like there's stuff that's getting like in behind the scenes, like buttons are being pushed still.
Okay.
And I don't know why that is. Might be pressure from governments. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So it's not like no system's perfect. Like, but it's his platform still. Like he technically can do whatever the hell he wants. He paid the money to buy the damn company.
Yeah.
You know. So, but yeah, to say it's like 100% free speech, not entirely true. Not entirely true. There's still limits, obviously, somewhere.
Yeah.
But
Well, they say that there is no freedom of speech. Not really.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
Because
And
you'll have consequences.
Yeah.
Even if you can say it, you'll still have like a consequence to that.
Yeah.
But it's just much more freedom of speech than all the other platforms.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
And same with Rumble. Rumble's kind of in the same vein. I think you can be a lot more blasé on Rumble than you can on like YouTube, for example.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I like what Rumble's doing. Rumble's interesting. My stuff doesn't get any traction on there because it's just everyone talking about politics. So I'm like, okay, cool, I get it.
Yeah.
It's not a platform for my particular content. You know, that can stay on YouTube for now until they ban me, and then I'll figure out where I go after that.
What are people most interested about, information-wise, to get from you?
From my stuff, my stuff on exposing the porn industry is actually very, very popular. Like anytime I go into like secrets about the porn industry or dark aspects of the porn industry, I had a couple of videos about that recently that did really good numbers. People really resonate with that stuff. Like, and then really practical how-to things like how to prevent premature ejaculation, how to increase your semen volume. That stuff is really, really popular, surprisingly. Maybe that's a fertility thing. I don't know. Or it's just dudes want to get freaky with their missus. Cool. But yeah, that stuff tends to do extremely well. Yeah. Yeah.
How not to come early?
Yeah, that does quite well. Yeah. Like anything that's like really practical and how to. And I've always tried to structure my YouTube videos as best I can. It's like I don't like to fill my videos with a lot of fluff.
Yeah.
If I go on a rant, okay, I go on a rant, but like I want to just give you like, you have a problem, here's how to fix it 1, 2, 3, 4 different ways. Go. Like, go away. Like we're happy, fixed everyone's problem, great. You know, and that's people respond well to those kind of videos now because there's a lot of videos on YouTube that are kind of just fluff.
Yeah.
You know, and they take forever to fucking get to the point, and they're selling you there's like an ad halfway through the video, and it's like, just get to the fucking point. You know, it's like old school YouTube was like so like strict. You know, you ever seen those videos that are done by like Indian IT guys on YouTube where it's like, how do I do this particular thing in Excel? And you'll search for it, and it's like a video with like 10 million views, and it's just some Indian guy going through like a screenshot, like, okay, you'll go here, and then you'll click this, and like, thank you, Mr. Indian man.
Yeah.
It was like 30 seconds long. You got
Nothing
straight
else.
to the point.
Yeah.
God bless you. That's amazing. Yes. Like, I think people like those videos on YouTube, you know? People respond well.
Yes. How do you not ejaculate early?
How do you not? With a bunch of different ways. Breath work is one. So if you pay attention to when you're ejaculating, you'll breathe a certain way, right? So you want to kind of it's technically called a pattern interrupt. So you want to like interrupt that physical habit, right? For example, if you breathe really, really fast, like that when you're about to pop, cool. When you sense yourself getting too close and you're losing control, deliberately do the opposite with your breath. So it's like long, slow, deep breaths instead. And what you will find is that you'll literally pull the sensation and that oversensitivity feeling away from your wang. Like you'll actually regain a lot of control. Other things that we can do is like Kegel exercise and pelvic floor strengthening exercises. These all help with establishing a lot more control in your nether regions. They also help with your erection strength as well, which is pretty good. And then other things like reducing certain like neurotransmitters in your brain. So things like cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline. Premature ejaculation is actually an anxiety response. So when it's also kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If a dude is like anxious about coming too soon, he's probably going to come too soon because he's just like overthinking effectively. His prefrontal cortex is too switched on. And sex is better when it's this sort of brain off flow state, you know, where you're both just going back and forth with each other, and you're not thinking. So we can take some. There's a few supplements that you can take that switch that off. Things like taurine is a good building block for a thing called GABA. GABA is a relaxing neurotransmitter. Things like magnesium glycinate, they help you to relax and calm down. Glycine, the glycine component of magnesium glycinate, is also a calming neurotransmitter. Things like methylcobalamin, these also help to reduce anxiety as well. I actually have a supplement which has all this stuff in it called Stud from Clubhouse Supplements. We actually produce that for this exact purpose, to help dudes like last longer in the bedroom, and dudes love it. Like they get a lot of results with it. So it's very easy. Like once you can tackle that, like the anxiety, and this is partly also why the breathing works as well. So I think things like meditation work really well too. But I actually prefer to encourage guys to do sparring instead of meditation, because I think sparring is actually a more masculine way of achieving a meditative state, like a flow state. If you're getting punched in the face, like coming too soon with your chick is not as like it's a perspective thing, like it's not as anxious. If you need to reset your level for what is anxious or anxiety inducing, like you need to reset your level of like stress tolerance. And I think sparring and getting your head kicked in is a great way of doing that. If you're getting anxious about like popping too soon with a woman, you probably need bigger problems in your life. Yeah. So raise your stress tolerance a bit too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about getting a woman more horny?
Guys do you'll get a lot better results in the bedroom when you realize that like sex is a reward for her. You take the attitude that sex is a reward for her, not for you. So a lot of guys will be manipulated, shall we say, in their relationship by their woman, because the woman is using sex as like a power leverage tool. Okay. And unfortunately, what comes when he allows that to happen, she loses respect for him and thus loses attraction for him, right? You can't, like my good friend Rollo Tomasi says, you can't negotiate genuine desire. It's a great statement. It's so true. You can't get into a dynamic where it's like, oh, if I do the dishes and if I take the trash out, I'll get a blowjob. You want the enthusiastic blowjob. You don't want the pity blowjob. You don't want the like obligatory blowjob, right? So how do we get her to be like genuinely attracted to you, genuinely sexually desirous of you, like generally horny for you? And I think it comes down to like the easiest way I've been able to create that for guys is to tell them just to be more dominant in the bedroom. Manhandle her, for God's sake. Throw her around a bit. Toss her under the bed. Spank her a bit. Pull her hair a bit. Learn to do these things, like nibbles on the trap up here, like kisses on the neck. These highly erogenous zones. They all turn on this sort of primal aspect of a woman's brain that responds really, really well to dominance. Like if you look, here's another kind of a freaky rabbit hole you can go down. If you look at, because Pornhub released their like user data, Pornhub's like a big analytics company really, and they release like the search data for like different search terms and stuff. And it turns out that for porno videos that are like, let's say, more aggressive, graphic, maybe you might even use the word violent, right? So like gangbang stuff, BDSM stuff, grape fantasy stuff, right? Women predominantly search that over men. They search it. I think. What's the statistic I was reading? I think they search it.
Grape.
Great. I'm trying to not get your channel. I'm trying to not get your channel banned. I'm doing you a favor because I'm using polite, YouTube-friendly language to describe. Everyone knows what I just said. I'm not talking about fruit. Okay. But women search this stuff. I think it's about like 2 times more often than men search it.
Wow.
Yeah. So like okay. Well, why? You ask the question, then why is that? Why? Well, there's something deep in female psychology that responds well to dominance, masculine dominance, and aggressiveness, and these things. So injecting a bit more passion and dominance into your sex life, into the way that you interact with your woman, always goes down well. I say that with a caveat, and that's don't be an autistic retard who like doesn't know how to like read body language. Yeah. Basically, that is the biggest unfortunate caveat I have to mention, is that like a lot of guys don't have enough experience with women sexually to even be able to read the body language they're getting back from their woman and know if she's enjoying it or not. So learn to read body language. Please pay attention to her. Yeah.
But it seems like the whole toxic masculinity movement tames
yes
men
completely
and then ruins the sex life.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yes. Congratulations, feminists. Congratulations. You've not only you've pussified men, and you've left women sexually unsatisfied because of it. Well done.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You just fucked everyone.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And a lot of dudes are afraid of, after the whole Me Too movement thing.
Exactly.
So many dudes were like terrified of even interacting with women. Like, I got messages like this all the time. And then when I tell them, hey, it's okay if you're a little bit more heavy-handed in the bedroom, obviously consensually, and obviously, like I said, paying attention to her body language and not pushing things in a direction where she's not going to enjoy it, but being more heavy-handed in the bedroom, she's going to respond really well. All of these dudes are like shit scared of doing it because they're like, I don't want to catch a Me Too charge, basically. So you've feminism just totally fucked up the entire dynamic between men and women because of it.
And meanwhile, you have these books of like kidnappers going in a house and taking. Have you seen these?
Yeah.
These like women erotic books are always about like some sort of like violent act or getting advantage of over somebody or overpowering a woman, and they're catching themselves enjoying it.
Completely.
Yeah. Which is a crazy topic.
Like the characters in those books are usually guys who fit a very masculine, toxically masculine archetype.
Yeah.
Right? That's it's that rabbit hole is interesting. Is like female erotic novels and fantasy novels and things like that.
Have you seen the meme of the levels of feminism?
No.
No?
No.
I think on X I saw it's I have to send it to you. It's the best.
Yeah.
It starts with like first it's like, I don't know, you see a picture of like women like having more rights, then you see women working, then you see and it ends with like men being women, like the trans movement, you know,
right.
like where now that is like they took even that from them, you know. It goes so far that they take over the sports and they do everything that the woman does.
Yeah, exactly. They take all the women's...
Just man in general. Like that is the ultimate feminist is a man.
Is a dude.
Is a dude. It's the end level of feminism is man is a guy.
Yeah, men taking on over all women's sports and all women's jobs.
Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a stupid ideology. Yeah. It's a really stupid ideology. It's done us no good.
Yeah.
No good whatsoever. No.
Yeah. I think that really crippled me as a young man, seeing the masculinization of my dad.
Right.
Because the first 10 years when I grew up, he raised me like pretty strict and pretty rough. And then like, it's not even his fault, like just generationally, there was this like toxic masculinity started and he like changed as a man and he was not allowed to be heavy-handed anymore and he was not allowed to raise his voice anymore. And before you know it, he was like a woman, right? So, and to witness that, because I know how he used to be, like he used to like never be violent, but like I respected him and I did not speak out of line and I would never call him names. And then I saw my 10-year younger brother doing all these things to him because he could get away with it.
Right.
And that really, that I didn't like that. And I never changed my attitude about him. I would never call him a name ever, you know, but to watch that like really made me have like some sort of like lack of a masculine figure in my life where I just wanted to be so strong and work out all the time and I need more. That's why also I'm so hypnotized by Andrew Tate, is because he's like, I feel like one of the only people taking position for a young man, kind of.
Yeah, like that's why he was so popular with young guys.
Yeah.
Right? That's obviously why he's popular with young men. And everyone's like complaining about it and it's like...
But that's also because they're missing that from their own life, kind of, right? In their own house.
Yeah.
You know?
Completely.
Yeah.
Like for every like traditional conservative influencer out there who critiques Andrew, it's like look in the mirror. Like why are the young men, you know, like he filled a gap that was clearly there.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, why they're listening to him instead of you, traditional conservative influencer? Well, it's because he's painting a picture that's more inspiring than you are.
Yeah.
Like your picture is basically a feminized version of masculinity. It really is.
Yeah.
You know, I think that my friend Raul Tomasi critiques this very, very well. But it's like this, and you look at a lot of like conservative women, they're all still secretly feminists. They really are. it's like, you know, the sisterhood over anything to do with men primarily. Like there's a lot of young men who have been taught from day one, you're evil and you're bad because you're a man. Like you owe women everything. We're going to put women on a pedestal. We're going to give them job preferential treatment. We're going to design schools which are better suited for the way women like to learn than the way the boys like to learn. Cool. And now everyone on the TV is like a strong, empowered woman. There's no like male action heroes and stuff anymore.
I can't even watch TV anymore.
Yeah, it's crap. It's trash.
Bro.
It's trash. Yeah. And it's like, cool. You've had your boot on young men's neck their whole life. What do you expect them to do?
Yeah.
Like they're going to look for a masculine, like a hyper masculine role model. They're going to look for that, and they found it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard to, he's like a creation out of that lack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much. I mean, I think Andrew's always been Andrew. Like he was consistent. He's been pretty consistent. Like you know, even before he was like internet famous, you can find like old videos of him and stuff, and it's the same guy. Like he's still saying the same stuff. He still has the same sense of humor. He still like knows how to push people's buttons and say stuff that's like very controversial and get them to react and get them to think. Like he still does the same thing. But it was this perfect storm where like TikTok was genuinely organic. He came along, people were cutting up his old stuff, put it on TikTok, and he exploded in the space of like 6 months. It really happened in like 6 months, but people don't really pay attention to it. Like I saw it from like the beginning to the end. Like I knew Andrew and Tristan before they were like like they were micro internet celebrities, like Twitter celebrities. But their channel wasn't massive. Like they didn't have like this gigantic following, even though they were very accomplished men at that point, both fighters. Like they'd both been on reality TV shows as younger guys. Like they did a lot of stuff, and then bang, like this perfect storm. Like young guys are looking for like a male masculine role model. TikTok allowed genuine organic like content to go viral, and then bang, like in the space of 6 months, everyone knew who he was, and then all the charges and stuff came. Yeah. It was a very interesting time, yeah, and it's going to be even more interesting now that they're here in America, bouncing around, and they're going back. Then they go back to Romania, I think, on the 23rd to resume the court case over there. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I've got faith that they'll be redeemed and they'll have their names cleared, and then once that happens, it's going to be very interesting. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Looking like it's getting better.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. You can't just like take years of a guy's life away, without actually like there's been plenty of time to like put him in if he was guilty of everything they accused him of, why isn't he in jail?
Yeah.
Like he's been through the ringer, and it's like put up or shut up. Like it's about time, Make something of this case or don't. Like really, like put your cards on the table. Show us where are the crimes that he's committed. Like he said a bunch of stuff on the internet people don't like. He said a bunch of stuff on the internet that pisses people off. That ain't a crime though.
Yeah.
Like it's not a crime. So yeah, find the crime. It's not there. Like they're gonna come out of this, and evidently the experience made them a lot stronger, obviously. And it made them more popular. It made them more popular. Yeah. They tried to shut him up, and you made him a fucking martyr. Yeah. Well done, guys. Like, congratulations. Like, you did a great job of that. Like, completely backfired. And I think it was primarily the UK government that was behind it. Primarily.
Scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the UK government is not very pro free speech these days. If you've been paying attention, like anyone who critiques the government and people like Keir Starmer end up in jail. So yeah, the UK is like a Stasi state at the moment. It's fucking ridiculous.
What about Australia?
They're getting close. They're getting very, very close to being in a similar situation.
Does that scare you?
Yeah, but we're going to fix it. So don't worry, we're going to fix it.
Okay,
we're going to fix it. Yeah, I've got faith. I've got faith. I've got a lot of good connections in Australia. I've got a lot of very influential friends in Australia. We're going to do something about it. Yeah,
I feel like if everybody has a gun, changes things.
People say that, right?
You don't think so?
Okay, like, objectively, like, you see the argument thrown at Australians like this, well, you don't give your guns away. And I agree, you shouldn't give your guns away. I agree with that statement. But that's not, like, you're not going to, like, just rock up and start shooting cops. It It's
No,
not gonna. It's not
obviously
gonna
not,
happen. It's not gonna happen.
obviously
Yeah, but people say that like that's like like that. That's the conclusion they're trying to draw. Is like, oh, when the cops come to try and put you in a house for COVID lockdowns, for example, right?
Yeah.
You usually gonna shoot them? Is that what you're saying? Like, people.
No, it's more the power. I think the power structure is like you think twice.
Yeah, I know.
Before
I understand. I understand what they're trying to say that they think, but practically,
Yeah.
what the end result is if they try to push it, then you would shoot a cop. Is what the practical like implication of that is.
One of them. But like when you go to Texas, you think twice to step on somebody's property.
Yeah, I understand that, and I've been to Arizona before, and Arizona was like one of my first experiences in the US, and I was like, this is the like people like open carrying everywhere,
Yeah.
and I'm like. And I go into like a Walmart, I go into a like a convenience store or whatever. And I'm like, these are the most polite people I've ever met in my entire life. Yeah. Like everyone is super friendly. And I'm like, I get it. Yeah. I get it. I'm pro gun. I'm very, very pro. I'm pro open carry. I love it. It clearly works. Clearly works. Australia used to have a gun ownership rate on par with America prior to like, was it the early 90s when the Port Arthur massacre happened? Yeah, before they took a lot of guns away. And the weird thing is that now there's more guns in Australia now than there was pre the gun buyback. People don't know that. You can still have guns in Australia. Like you can still have guns. There's just a bunch of restrictions. Like you have to be part of a gun club, or you have to have farmland, and so you're using it for like pest control and things like this. Like you have to have a hunting license for certain rifles. Like you can still have guns. There's a few hoops to jump through. But the thing we don't have is like castle laws, where you can defend yourself with a firearm. That you cannot do. You can't even defend yourself in general, like with a home invasion. Like we don't have castle laws, like stand your ground kind of laws like you do in the US. That's something we desperately need. We desperately need that. Yeah.
That's a little scary.
It is. It is, yeah. Like, people will still do it. Like, you break into my home and try to threaten my family, I'm still going to kill you. Yeah. Like, cool, I'll go to jail for that. Yeah. Fine. Like, I'll make me a martyr. I'm fine with that. But, like, and that wakes people up. Like, it's unfortunate. You need, like, there's going to have to be, like, sacrifice in terms of, like, you know, facing the system, facing prison time or whatever, to expose and turn over all of these ridiculous fucking laws that we have in Australia. But I've got faith it'll happen. I know people who are working really hard to make that happen. So, yeah, it's going to be. Watch out. Keep an eye on me for the next. I'm serious. Keep an eye on me for the next 5-6 years. It's going to be. You might see me in the political sphere in Australia very soon. It'll be very interesting. Yeah,
that's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. So, yeah, it's a new exciting journey, new exciting project for me to get my teeth stuck into. I like it. Yeah.
Very opposite the sex world, I guess.
Very much so. Yeah. And I'm gonna get flack. Cool, whatever. I know if I decided to, like, for example, run, not necessarily saying I'll do this, but if I decided to, like, run for, like, Senate or something in Australia, like, I already know every slander article that's going to come out about me. I already know. Like, it's not going to be like, oh no, the public will find out I did porn. Yeah, they all fucking know already. So it's like, where's the weapon? You know, there's not really much. They haven't really got much ammo on me because it's all out there anyway. There's nothing that surprising. So, what's the skeleton in the closet? Like, my closet's open. Yeah. My closet's been open for years. You know, the skeletons have all fallen out. I've been throwing the skeletons in people's faces and telling people about it. You know, so there's very little they could attack me with anyway. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Yeah.
How much sex is it, like, a normal amount to have
in a relationship? Like a frequency thing? Yeah, I think if you're a younger guy, like once a day is pretty good. If you're older, 35 plus, whatever, every other day. Depends. It's very dependent upon your sex drive and your testosterone levels. I know a lot of guys in their 40s who, like, take TRT and they're like an 18-year-old again. Like, they're fucking at it. Yeah. You know, multiple times a day. They're raring for it. So, like, if you've maintained your testosterone levels at that level throughout your late 20s and your 30s and stuff, then keep at it. You know what I'm saying? So that's really the defining factor, is the guy's sex drive is the primarily defining factor. And it's healthy for you. It's healthy for you to engage with that with your woman on a regular basis. You know, I don't like this idea of, like, but a lot of guys end up in the opposite situation where it's like they have sex on their birthday and that's fucking it. Like, they're in a completely dead bedroom. It's horrendous. I don't know how any man could let himself get into that situation. Honestly, like, you have to have such a lack of self-respect to let your relationship get to that point. I don't understand how you could let it. Yeah, it blows my mind.
Like separate beds and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, separate bed thing might be for different reasons, but like, yeah, like a blowjob on your fucking birthday only. Like, what the hell? Get out of here. You know? Like, I got a friend who invented.
Like, what could be for separate beds? What could that be?
I know a couple back in Australia, like this old couple who actually lived in different houses, but they would still bang
all the time.
Banged all the time. Yeah. But they lived in different houses. Maybe that helped because they didn't get on each other's nerves.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Don't
know. Yeah, but I have a friend who has this really cool litmus test for relationships. Like he's like he's a forensic accountant, and he helps with like divorces. So he has this litmus test for the guy is like, how often do you get a blowjob, right? And if the answer is anything except whenever I want, there's only really two answers to that question. There's whenever I want, and then there's like every other answer, which is like on my birthday, once a month, once a week, blah, blah. Basically any other answer is ostensibly she views that as a chore versus she enjoys pleasing her man. Those are really the two different scenarios, right? So you've created, like, that is a very cool litmus test, the blowjob test. Like, how often do you get a blowjob in your relationship? And if the answer is anything but whenever I want, then there's a problem. Yeah. There really is a problem because it means she no longer views you as desirable. She no longer she's viewing a blowjob as a chore, or she's viewing like pleasing you as a chore, like that selfless act of pleasing her man. And she's not doing that. There's problems. Like there's a problem in her level of desire and level of respect for you, clearly. Yeah. And,
nice.
And it leads to divorces, unfortunately.
What other red flags do you have?
What
other tests?
I don't have any other. Well, this is his domain. He's dealing with divorces and things like that. I'll tell you something. I'll flip that around.
Did you remember last time I told you to watch out for blowjobs in Hollywood or like on screen, and that there are none?
Oh yeah. You did say that. Yes.
There are none.
Yes, exactly.
There's no such thing.
Yeah, there's no blowjobs in Hollywood movies. Yeah.
But you'll always see a guy go down on a woman.
Interesting.
Always.
Interesting.
At all times in every movie, that is like the most. That's what they all the Hollywood, like they're like, oh my God, yes, he's going down on her. Yes, let's put that in. Yes, in a family movie, yes. Put it in. He's going down on her, but no fucking though. Don't fuck her. Only the cuck, like go on your knees and suck her out. It's true.
Yeah. I didn't remember to look for that.
Yeah, you gotta look. Well, you'll wait forever.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a blowjob in Hollywood.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's like you cannot even touch that topic. It is untouchable.
Damn. I remember when I do remember when I was growing up, there was definitely blowjobs in movies.
Yeah.
There was definitely.
Oh yeah. Of course.
There was absolutely.
Same when I grew up, but not that changed.
Yeah. Yeah. To get back onto that divorce question you asked, so I've got a perspective from the opposite side. So like, I watched this video about a female divorce attorney, and she gets asked by her female clients, like how do I stop my man from cheating, basically. And so she had this video which was about like the careers that guys have that cheat the least. And the top two careers that guys have that cheat the least were accountant and pharmacist.
Wow.
Accountants and pharmacists are a very stable choice, ladies. They don't cheat on you, apparently.
I don't know if they have a lot of sex at all, though.
Well,
they might not cheat because they don't have a big sex drive.
The women, there's no female like romance novels being written about an accountant. Unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not shitting on accountants. I've got friends who are accountants. I'm not trying to shit on accountants. They're not the sexiest archetype that exists.
What's your thought? Porn is in the no, but what about like masturbation in general?
You just get better results out of life if you don't jerk off.
Ever?
Yeah. I mean, like, eventually you're going to have to, like, release. Like, there is a limit. You don't want to, like... It's actually bad for prostate health if you don't ever, like, release.
Yeah.
You'll get blue balls and it'll start to hurt and shit. You know, you'll get distracted because you'll be so ridiculously horny you can't think about anything else.
Exactly.
You know?
Sometimes it's like, bro, I need to think of something else.
Yeah. But objectively, like it's after 7 days of nofap, you do like every day. If you retain and you don't release seed, like your testosterone levels increase every day up to 7, and then it sort of plateaus. So there is some actual positive science associated with nofap. It's not all like a woo-woo and bro science. But I think that's good. If you can channel that, if you can commit to that and channel that energy into something positive, you're gonna like, if you're aggressive enough, you're gonna get a girlfriend pretty quickly, I think. You know, or at least you're gonna work on the things in your life that you need to work on to increase your level of attractiveness. Like hitting the gym, like building your business, like building your income, building your network, getting out there, like putting yourself out of your comfort zone, taking risks. Like you're gonna develop these attractive traits ostensibly, like without even really trying. It's just going to be like, there's just going to be so much drive energy behind you because you're just like fucking pent up and ready to go the whole time, you know? Yeah. So I'm anti fapping.
Yeah. So you don't fap?
I do occasionally fap, yeah. When I've got a dry spell,
yeah,
I'll occasionally fap, and that is gay.
Yeah.
That is gay, unfortunately. Yeah.
And how does that make you feel?
Like a piece of shit.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's funny. So you're trying to avoid it at all times.
Try to avoid
just to be a better man and to like go on a hunt.
Yeah. It's just, you just got more energy for everything, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
it does soften you up.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. Yeah.
Even before working out or when you have to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a reason that like fighters don't jerk off before a fight.
Yeah.
There's a reason that like athletes don't jerk off before like a game. Like,
yeah.
It's a very consistent thing. Yeah. It absolutely works.
So it raises your testosterone.
Completely. That is proven. Yes.
Wow.
100% proven. Yeah. But 7 days is the point of limiting returns. Diminishing returns, rather. It stops it. It caps it like 7 days. Yeah. It doesn't like if you spend 3 months no fapping, you don't have like 10,000% increase in testosterone. You know. Yeah.
7 days, you said.
7 days is like where it gets is like the highest. Yeah.
What about for her?
Like her not fapping.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like her,
does her testosterone increase if she doesn't orgasm?
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
There's no correlation. Sorry, ladies. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they do like the female orgasm does release the key thing about the female orgasm is it releases oxytocin, which is a pair bonding chemical. So making her orgasm literally makes her fall in love with you. Like there's other things that produce oxytocin, like cuddling and whatnot, that do cause that pair bond for her. But the orgasm just dumps oxytocin into the female brain, and so. Yeah, if you want a woman like to fall in love with you pretty quickly, if you want a woman to be addicted to you, so to speak, if you're good in bed, it works. Like this is why women can't get over like fuckboys. Mm-hmm. This is why women can't get over that. Like there's always that one, not always, but in a lot of cases there's always that like one guy that she just can't get over from her past who just rocked her world every time.
Yeah.
And it's like they'll rationalize like all different reasons why they can't get over him, but it's just because he had good dick game.
Yeah.
Like he made her come a bunch and very easily, and it was just like that oxytocin dump. Like she just bonded psychologically to the guy. Yeah.
What do you think about sex toys?
I think vibrators ruin a woman's pussy. Like these high-powered vibrators, they just desensitize everything too much. It's kind of like it's like the female equivalent to dudes like doing the death grip when they jerk off and they like lose sensation and stuff, and like no vagina can like replicate that.
What's the death grip?
The death grip is when a dude just like chokes the chicken too hard.
Holy shit!
Yeah. Good. That's like a Reddit thing. Yeah, wow. Dudes like talking about how do you fix the death grip? They're just jerking it way too hard, so they just destroy the nerve endings in their dick, and they can't like when it comes to sex.
Yeah, it's not.
There's no vagina that is like death gripping him, so he can't get off. Yeah, it creates a really bad side effect. Yeah.
Wow. So
like the vibrator for women, especially super high powered ones, I kind of like that. They're the same thing. I think women. It's pretty, from my observations, it's pretty clear that women who do not masturbate have a harder time orgasming in general, because they're not in touch with because the female orgasm is still like these waves that kind of come in and eventually like reach a peak. And if she's not really familiar with that sensation and that feeling and how it feels in her body, it's harder for her to reach climax, especially when she's then with a partner, right? Because there's added layers of like nervousness and anxiety and pressure from the female perspective. So women, I think I would encourage women to masturbate because they will find it much easier for them to orgasm when they are in the bedroom with their partner, but just avoid like these high-powered vibrators. Like use your fingers, use your hands. Like it's not that hard. Like just be a bit more patient, and you'll get there. Like, and then you'll learn more about your body, and you'll learn more about the different parts of your clitoris that are more sensitive, and then you can communicate that with your partner and tell him, hey, hit like 1 o'clock on the fun clock. that's the sweet spot. Go for it. Cool. Happy days for both of you. Yeah. But women masturbating is actually a good thing because it makes it easier for them to orgasm with a partner. That's certain.
And they don't have that they don't need to put in hard work to feel success.
No.
To train that.
No.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
No.
Man, so that's a lot of sex talk.
Yeah. How long have we got for? I do have to get to the airport at some point.
Yeah. No.
In fact, I actually might have to bounce now. Actually, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
My friend. It's I have to bounce off to Austin.
Amazing.
Tonight, yes, or today rather, this afternoon. Anything else before I go?
What do you have besides the Australian politics? What else do you have? Coming?
Same plan we had last time. Now I've decided that Australian politics is probably on the cards. I'm actually looking at buying up some of my family used to have like thousands of acres in like one town, like distributed amongst like my granddad's sons and stuff. And some of that land was lost from the family due to like mismanagement. Really, looking at buying back some of the traditional family land that we had, which would be it'd be a very nice.
Yeah,
it's like reclaiming it in our family name. I'd really like to do that. So I'm looking at stuff right now to do that. Looking at other like physical business investments I can get into, car washes, things like that.
Nice.
And our supplement line, Clubhouse Supplements, is now on like TikTok Shop, which is kind of cool.
Wow.
Yeah. We've just started to get some traction on TikTok Shop. We've got some creators like putting out content around our supplement line. So you'll start to over the next 6 to 8 months, you should see that popping up a bit more and more on your TikTok feed, hopefully.
Nice.
It'll be cool. Look out for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got to give it a try.
Yeah. In fact, actually, yes. I should. Yeah. If I know where you live, I can freaking send you some samples.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
What about bigger loads?
I've got one for that.
Okay.
I've got one exactly for that. So I'll give you that
really
one.
fun.
If that's what you want.
When you come a lot, it's a lot.
If you
it's fun.
Make another baby, I'll help you.
Yeah. Bigger loads. Yeah. That's good.
It's designed for that. It gives you bigger loads and it helps them, and it will help with sperm health.
Okay.
It's literally called ropes.
Okay.
That's our formula for that.
Sick.
So it's literally designed to do exactly what you want it to do. So, yeah, you can have some fun with that. But remind me when I land tomorrow, and I'll get my customer service team to send you some samples.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. That's it.
Awesome, Ken.
Sweet.